Hey, it's the big game, Friday edition. At least I think it's Friday. I've lost track of all the days here on Radio Row. I'm Chris Hagan, and look, it's not Jarrett Payton. We made a trade.
Listen, it's definitely Friday because you've lost track and I've lost my voice.
Exactly.
So 5 days of talking, and here we are.
We gave up Jarrett for 4 draft picks and a player to be named later, and that player is Simone Eli.
What's up?
She didn't pass the physical, though. No voice.
I know, it's rough. Listen,
That was a horrible
it's
trade.
Rough. It isn't great, but we're getting through, guys. Couple days away, Super Bowl Sunday is on the horizon.
Well, here's what we do then. We start the show with a Hall of Famer.
Oh.
One of my favorites. On the field, personality, he's got it all. Tony Gonzalez, brought to us by DraftKings, the best sports book for live betting. And Tony, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. How'd you lose your voice? Were you out there partying last night? Or
You know what?
was
I wish it was that. I wish that it was that. No, it's 5 days of being at the Super Bowl, Radio Row, all of this, and then last week I was at the Senior Bowl, so it's just been a little bit wild, but it's for good reason.
Pat yourself on the back here a little bit.
Oh,
Tony.
shut up,
Hey,
shut up.
worked so
Hey,
hard.
what's it been like for you so far here at Radio Row?
It's been great. Well, it's the first one of today. I was out here yesterday. Out here, it's just, I love coming on down here and seeing all like old players, right? Jameis Winston, see Bo Jackson. I grew up, Bo Jackson's first books I ever read, and I get to see him, and it's just cool to see all these great superstars and be around people like yourself. So
Exactly.
it's
Well
great.
said, Tony.
Love
Listen, about DraftKings, when I was younger, and I was betting completely illegally, by the way, in Birmingham, Alabama, where Jameis Winston was there, Bo
That is
Jackson was
illegal.
down there. I saw Bo Jackson playing high school football, which was unbelievable. You'd make a bet. You'd say, hey, here's my bet. I bet on Alabama to beat Auburn, and then you just watch the whole game. But now the live betting is where it's at. You know, that's why these refs, they go review every play, because somewhere there's a guy that's like, oh, I got the in-game bet, and it's plus 32. I need him to make that layup. It better count. But that's what makes DraftKings so exciting.
Yeah, and it makes it so fun, too.
Yeah.
I think you said that. It's fun. It's entertainment, so do it responsibly. But DraftKings, great. The number one place for live sports betting this Super Bowl Sunday. You're going to be able to get a chance at $5 million in prizes that are going to be given away during the game. So have some fun with it. It's
Tony,
entertainment.
I have a question. Okay, so I'm not really well-versed on the betting world. Of course, a lot of friends are. But for somebody who wants to get involved, wants to start somewhere, the Super Bowl might be it. You go do these fun, I don't know, prop bets or what the Gatorade color is going to be or something ridiculous like that. What advice would you give folks about if you're going to give them some pointers on how to get started?
Oh, wow. Jeez. Well, maybe talk to somebody who's been there, done that. Like, that's what
Chris
I always
has been
say.
there. He's
Yeah, there
done
you
that.
go. You're
There I
sitting
am.
right next to the guy right here.
He's a pro.
You didn't say you're a degenerate gambler.
No, I'm not. I'm a responsible.
Responsible. All right.
There was a little asterisk at the bottom of the screen there. Tony, I got to
Change his super degenerate gambler.
this is one of my favorite stories, and this is going to blow her mind. I think it might have even happened out here in the Bay Area. In a game one time, you ran into a photographer on the sideline.
Oh.
And so he goes and gets checked out, and it turns out he had a brain tumor.
Yeah.
And he never would have gone and got checked out. You talk about you're always where you're supposed to be. Everything happens for a reason. You remember that, obviously.
I remember the hell out of that guy. Mickey.
Yeah,
Mickey was his
Mickey.
name. We became friends after that. Yeah,
Wow.
they hauled him off, hit him, caught the ball, got pushed out of bounds late. They got called flagged for
Okay.
it. So even that's something that rarely happens. He pushed me out of bounds late. Run into Mickey. Mickey goes out. His eyes are flipped in the back of his head. The ambulance comes on and takes him off. And then I found out later, same thing like you said, that if he didn't get hit, he would have never got his brain checked out, which he had a tumor that would have probably killed him within 6 months.
Oh, my God.
He ended up passing away, but I think he got an
10
extra,
years later. He
Yeah,
was like-
yeah, a while later. But he wrote me a letter, and he was like, "This is the best thing that ever happened to me." At the
my
time, I'm
God.
like, "Holy
Yeah.
crap! This guy's he's got taken off in an ambulance." I felt so bad about it, but strange universe.
And that's what
Strange
people
universe.
you can tell people think football players are just robots, even like Hall of Famers. But that really, you were worried about him. Like,
Yeah.
you have to go back in the game, but you're like, hey, you see all this, and that was really hitting you, wasn't it?
It really, that was probably I think that was the worst game one of the worst games I ever played. I had one catch for 7 yards.
Oh, my gosh.
I was just in my head after that.
Wow.
I don't know. It was just,
That's
but
tough.
obviously it was the best thing. One catch is great to help Mickey. Mickey was a good dude.
You're a West Coast guy, games out here. What was it like just growing up over here in California and then be able to see Super Bowl 60 on this stage here, Levi Stadium?
Oh, it's great. It was here, I believe. I did Super Bowl 50 with CBS when I was doing their pregame
Nice,
show.
yeah.
So been here, got to see the Super Bowl up close and personal. But yeah, growing up in Cali, I went to Berkeley, right up the street here. This is like being home for me. A lot of great memories here. I went to the Sweet 16 in basketball for Berkeley. Played some good games against Stanford. football, and then obviously come back here playing against the Oakland Raiders. I grew up in L.A. I was a big Bo Jackson fan, Laker fan. So
You've mentioned Bo
California's
Jackson
great.
a couple times, and I love that.
You're too young to remember what Bo was. And his career was cut short.
First of all,
This
I only
guy-
spent 15 years in the state of Alabama, so I feel as though I grew up watching him, even though it was well after. And my husband, by the way, was the head football coach at McAdory, so there are a couple things that I might know. But tell him to give me some street cred.
But
Come on,
Bo
Tony.
would get the ball, and people would say, "Oh, it looked like a video game," because every time he got the ball, no matter how far they could be on their own 18-yard line, and he could take it to the house. He was big.
Yeah.
He could bust through the hole and then just run away from you.
Yeah, but 4.2 speed at 230 pounds or something like that.
wild.
And mean.
And
not very nice.
No,
like people.
he's still a little bit mean. He's still a little bit mean, to be honest. But he's also there's a tender side of him. If you you can pull it out of him a little bit. By the way, literally, he's right behind us right now.
There's Bo.
Bo.
What's up?
What up?
We're talking
What's
about
up?
you.
We're literally in the middle of talking about you.
Is that crazy, Steve?
Listen, and we just said he's mean. He's about to come running through this table right now.
There he is.
But he's got it like you. He's got a
insane.
$1 million smile, and you were one of the guys who brought that athleticism.
Is he coming
to
over?
the tight end position?
Can we get Bo? Come on now.
Hey, let's
He's
get
coming.
Bo this other
Can we
headset
let's get Bo a headset,
What am I
guys.
saying about you? I'm
Hey,
just,
Tony, give him that right there.
here we go. Hold on.
Oh man.
So yesterday I ran into you. I said hello to you, and you don't know this, but when I was in 7th grade, I played 2 sports. You played 2 sports. You were the first book that I've ever read in my life. I read that in Bo Knows Bo, and I had a poster of you up on my wall, and they were asking me about what's cool about coming out the radio row, and I get to see people like you. So, and then they also said you were very mean.
Bo, I grew up in Birmingham.
I said you were really nice.
I am mean.
on the field.
I know you are. I've covered you from afar for like 10 years.
Hey, Bo, pull your microphone up right here.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
As far as an NFL player, once you get past 60, you take all the filters off. You say what you want.
Uh-huh.
You mean it.
Yeah.
You can be mean when you want. Because you can always blame it on, hey, I played football then. It ain't right to say what you want.
Bo, your catchphrase, the greatest thing that ever started from Nike, Bo Knows, and you got a new Bo Knows. Tell us about the hat.
This is Bo Knows Men's Health.
Okay.
And I'm starting a podcast for this simple reason. I don't think God put me on this earth just to play sports. I enjoyed it. Love it. I think I'm put on here for a bigger reason. And back in October, well, I'll tell you like this. I'm a cancer survivor. I had my prostate taken out in October. And I'm trying to educate not only myself, but men around the country, because we as men, we don't talk about our prostate issues. We don't talk about erectile dysfunction. We don't talk about colonoscopy. Women, hell, they are on national TV.
You're not wrong.
They talk about
You're right.
everything.
Yeah.
They talk about everything, period. Breast cancer, mastectomies, you name it, cervical cancer. They get on TV, all the show, they sit and talk and have wine and have a good time.
And amongst themselves in
But
private.
we as men, it's taboo.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's taboo. I can bet any man in here, when the last time you sit down with your buddies and talk about, man, I'm having trouble getting up at night 3 or 4 times a night to go take a leak because of my bladder. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about the fact that I'm afraid to go to the doctor to get a test because I'm afraid of what he's going to tell me. I want to use my platform to peel the layers off of that onion
so special.
so men can talk about that. Let's not let the women have all the damn fun.
Well, that's like,
But
and you can inspire people because here's Tony, Hall of Famer, and he's talking about you with reverence. So if what you say carries weight, and you're right,
See,
you do have the platform.
But the way I want this, yes, I want to set up a podcast, but I want to get on the road. Let's say I want to come to your town, get all your doctors, your cardiologists, your urologist, your proctologist, your general practitioner, get everybody, bring them on my show. What we'll do is announce to the public 1 or 2 weeks in advance, say, we're having a men's health show at this arena. It's going to cost you $5 or $10 or whatever. It won't cost you over $10. But what you need to do is come to the show, Those funds that we raise will stay in your community to help guys who can't afford to get a PSA test, who can't afford to go get a colonoscopy, because we got good insurance. We can always go. It's your garbage guys. It's your guys that pick up your garbage. It's the old fellas down at the supermarket that bag your groceries. It's those guys. Your Uber driver. It's those guys that we need help. So I think I was put on this earth to help do something like that. And I'm going to use my platform to get the word out to where you're able to talk about this.
Bo knows right there.
Bo knows.
Love
Tony,
the passion.
Tony, I think we have to cut you loose. But before you go, I want to ask, was it your personal experience that inspired you or motivated you to use a platform that is so well established because of your athletic ability and what you mean to the sport, just like around the entire world? Was it your personal experience that inspired you to say, I need to
Personal
step up?
experience, family experience. 2 weeks ago, I buried a brother-in-law. From cancer. Started off as prostate cancer. He decided to try to treat it. 6-7 years later, it came back, spread to his bones, liver, lungs, and then to his brain. Lost him. And colon cancer and prostate cancer runs in my family. So if it's in your family, you probably got that gene. And it's up to you to go get it taken care of, because now the joy of my life is my 2 grandsons, Aiden and Leo. They're 4 and 2 years old.
I love that.
And I think that's the best gift God can give to any human, is grandkids. My daughter just got married a month after my prostate surgery. I walked her down the aisle, and I told her and her husband, I'm giving you 1 month to give me I'm giving you 1 year to give me a granddaughter. If not, I'm cutting you out the wheel. I'm cutting you out the wheel. And so it's about family.
Yeah.
It's about friends. Once my urologist told me that I had 2 spots on my prostate, he said, what you want to do? You want to try that? I said, I don't want to try it. No. I said, one thing about cancer, one thing that I know, and yes, I use the Bo knows thing, but I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I'm sharp enough to cut you when I want to. I say this. You can't fight Mother Nature and you can't fight cancer. Those 2 entities are undefeated worldwide. The best way to fight cancer is to get it out of you. Cut it out of you, if you can. And that's what I said. I said, listen, most guys, we think with small brains.
Yeah.
We think small brains. Because the first thing I say to you, you got to get your prostate taken out tomorrow. Sometime within the next 2 minutes, you will have this thought, my sex life is over. That's not true. It's not true.
Well, you're right. You start talking about anything.
But, and I'm
down in that
saying
region,
this from
people get
experience.
nervous. Yeah.
Yes, I'm saying this from experience. I promise you, it's not over. And most guys aren't educated, not saying not educated, but a lot of guys don't know. We keep everything balled up inside of us, and it eats at us like battery acid. But women talk about it, get it out there, feel better, go have a glass of wine and talk. We go out and play golf and try to kill a golf ball because we got all this pin-up frustration that we can't talk to anybody about it. I want to peel the layers off of that onion to where it's okay for us to do a fireside chat with 500 people in the audience to talk about these issues. Because a lot of guys don't know. A lot of guys are afraid of what they're going to find out from their doctor. The thing that I want to do, let's say I come to your town. You're the town's celebrity. Get you to announce we're having this big fireside chat. Everybody comes, it's going to cost you a fee to get in. Your fee will be $10 or less, or give what you can. But we want you to give $10 if you can. Now all those funds, because we got good insurance, those funds aren't going to go to me. They're not going to go to my podcast. They're going to stay in your area, put them in a fund to help guys who can't afford to get a PSA test.
That's the way
guys
you gotta go.
who don't have insurance. And then we're going to get your local doctors urologists, proctologists, cardiologists, because what we're doing there is giving them free marketing. And so if we're going to have you on this podcast, and it's going to be shown nationwide, putting your name out there, putting your clinic out there, guess what you got to do? You got to give that patient a discount for that PSA test so we can pay for it and so forth and so on. You got to give that patient a discount on that colonoscopy. Because I wasn't put on this earth to be a Hall of Fame football player, but I'm a damn sure try to be a Hall of Fame activist and use my platform to try to educate and let people know what they can do.
Let me ask you this, Bo. Great message, great you have that platform because you were, in my opinion, I grew up in Birmingham, so obviously I'm biased.
There you go.
You're the greatest athlete of all time, regardless of sport. I'm not going to make you pat yourself on the back because you don't have to. Has anybody even reminded you a little bit of maybe Derrick Henry, somebody with the size, strength, and then speed, I'll just run away from you? And we were talking 40 years, we're still waiting for another Bo Jackson.
But I would say, yes, the three guys that I got in my cell phone that I call and check up on, give them advice. That's Derrick Henry, Bijan Robinson. Why can't he's going to kill me because I keep forgetting his name. Because I get it mixed up with Bijan, the running back for the Eagles.
Saquon Barkley.
I can't remember Saquon Barkley's name to save my life. And I love the kid. I talked to him. I talked to his mother. I talked to him and his mother a couple of months ago at a sports memorabilia show. But I can't remember his name. Saquon, please don't be mad at me.
Well, you see little parts of you in them,
Yes.
but nobody all rolled up into one like you.
But the closest is Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Is Derrick Henry.
Who, of course, played for that team over there, right?
He played the wrong
He
college.
played for the other school there in
Yes.
Alabama.
But you know something? I'm not afraid of him.
Before we go, I got to ask, because I covered, you were in Birmingham. I was in Birmingham for a long time in Mobile. Your favorite memory as an Auburn player there on the plains.
Over the top against Bama. It's got to be
you
over
don't get
the top.
to answer it. I didn't ask you your favorite memory
I'm
of
just
his.
saying,
I'm asking
over the
his
top
favorite
against
memory
Bama.
in an Auburn jersey.
My favorite memory in an all-Auburn jersey, I'll give you a story. I like to tell stories. My mother raised 10 kids by herself in a house that was less than 700 square feet. Outdoor plumbing, no running hot water. She was a maid at somebody's house during the day and a custodial worker at a hotel at night till 11 o'clock. She was a nobody. Everybody saw her as a maid. That's all. So she was invisible to the public. Nobody recognized her. My freshman year, after we beat Alabama, we went to the locker room. We sang our fight song. We said a prayer. And Coach Dot said, I don't know about y'all, but I'm going to go back out and celebrate with our fans. Because the first time that we beat Alabama since 72.
Years,
Yeah.
And I get emotional when I talk about this. And we go outside. First thing I do is look for my mom. And I see all these strange people hugging my mom, kissing my mom, shaking her hand because number 34 is her son. And the first time in my life, I saw my mom being recognized.
You made her visible.
Yes. So it wasn't the football game. I could care less about the game, whether we won or lost. But seeing my mom there and all these strangers that she didn't know, that I didn't know, is hugging her and treating her like she was Queen Elizabeth.
Wow.
So that's the best
So special.
moment in my life.
Bo,
as
thank
far as
you.
college is concerned.
Bo knows men's health. And I'm going to go to break here because I'm about to get a selfie with the greatest athlete. Get on YouTube
I'm getting mine
and
first.
just put in Bo Jackson, and you'll be watching for hours. We're going to hit a break. We're back more right after this. We're back on the Big Game Radio Row. And first, JP turned into Simone Eli, and now Simone has turned into JP.
Yeah, that's how we do around here.
You know what? But guess what? Guess who keeps working the whole time?
You.
Me.
Yes, that's what I'm
You
saying.
guys out there getting autographs and phone numbers and free chicken wings. I'm sitting here doing
He
all
didn't
the
bring you no chicken wings?
no chicken wings.
None.
Let's bring in Donovan McNabb. He's
Bring
been,
me in.
The
Bring
man,
me
the
in.
myth, the
He's
legend.
been
Come
with us
on.
before, and I always remind you of this because I'm sure you don't remember like I do. But when did you throw your first career NFL touchdown pass, and who was it against?
It was against the Washington Redskins with
I thought it was against the Indianapolis Colts in 1999. You came in that game.
Well, my very first win was against the Redskins.
But your very first
as the starter. But my first touchdown, it was Chad Lewis. Chad Lewis against the Indianapolis
I was standing
Colts.
on the field. I was still a cameraman then. So I was on that.
Okay.
You were in that
now
game?
when the kids hear 99.
Yeah, let's don't say that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know who I was on that
what I mean?
field? You know who was on that field, though? Edgerrin James was a rookie.
Yeah, he came out of my draft class.
You were a rookie, and like Payton was in his second year. And you don't realize when you're on a field with all these legends like yourself, at the moment, it's when you look back on it and go, man, there were some players out there.
Well, that's kind of the 99, the 90s, as the kids like to say, early 2000s.
Last century.
Yeah, we had a lot of guys. And it's funny, with my draft class, and hopefully Torrey Holt will get the call to possibly go in. But, our 99 draft class had a lot of great Hall of Famers. You talk Edgerrin James. I mean, just think of what Ricky would have been if he could have stayed healthy and could have stayed on the path. To Booger McFarland, to, we had offensive linemen, DBs. It's a lot of great players, great college players that play a handful of years at least in the NFL.
You have a bond with those guys? You remember guys that were going through that same experience at the same time in your life?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a fun time during the Senior Bowl. It's a fun time during the Combine. It's a fun time during the draft. And then now we're talking 20-plus years later, and we run into each other like we just seen each other last week.
That's awesome.
I'm trying to find a picture because I just want to. I don't know if you know. We always talk about this though. Him and I. He's the reason why I wanted to play quarterback. The reason why I wore number 5 in high school was because of that guy. Right there.
I think you ended up at what position you should be at.
He's
not a quarterback.
Hey.
They would have tried to move me there too. They tried. I was like, not doing that one.
Isn't it cool though to look back and people like myself that come up to you now that you're out of the game and you back and you just chilling there. They're like, man, you the reason why I wanted to do this.
It's the reason I have gray in my goatee. The fun part about it, and it's funny, we always talk about it, and it's funny when I ran into your sister, and I'm just like, man, I remember when y'all were young. And now she's got kids of her own, families, you know what I mean? And and to see mom, it's just really, but for me, when I hear kids talk about it, the exciting part about it is I ask them, what did I do to help change your life? And that's what I'm about. I'm about, trying to help aid in any way of making life better for somebody or whatever. And if it's about football, if it's about life, it's about how I am as a dad, whatever it may be. I just like to hear that type of stuff because that's things that I continue to do in my life today to try to help and aid in any way.
What's funny is I've been in Indy on TV there for 26 years. So people come up to me and say, I've been watching you since I was a kid. And I'll be like, no, you and then I realize, I bet they have.
When they bring the picture out, it's worse.
Yeah. And you don't realize, to a larger extent, when you were going through your thing and you're a young fella, you don't realize there's 9-year-old kids, there's 10-year-old kids that were watching you and emulating you. And so then
and now they're 30.
And now you look at them, you're like, they got kids. But it is funny, like you don't know what lives you're touching along the way.
Correct. And that's kind of the conversation I was just having of just you talk to them and have a conversation with them. And like some of them will bring pictures up of them in my jersey at 5 or 6 years old. And it's like, you're like, well, do I ask how old you are?
Yeah.
But again, it's what legacy is about. And my dad has been my mentor and my role model, and I just watched my dad and everything that he did while I was growing up, and I do that with my kids, which he don't allow me to do with the same stuff that he did to me, to my kids, and I'm like, man, you did that to me. And he's like, you're not supposed to do that to you. I'm like, wow. It's changed. But again, the exciting part, man, especially coming here on Radio Row, reuniting with guys that you haven't seen in years and just kind of seeing how they are, make sure they're healthy, whatever it may be. But, man, it's an exciting time. I'm enjoying every bit of it.
We've been asking a lot of guys this question, at least I have. When it comes down to this current day and age of how the game's played, do you ever in your mind go back and think about how your game was back then to how you would be in
how
this
it would
age?
translate now?
Yeah.
I think now it's a little bit more appreciated and somewhat respected of how I played back then to what they are doing now. So you have the Josh Allens, the Jalen Hurts, and the list goes on of just guys that have the ability to get outside the pocket and make plays, but also learn how to play within the pocket. And I think you're seeing that from Lamar Jackson. You're seeing guys like that in Jalen Hurts, where they understand their ability to get outside the pocket, but they're playing within the pocket now. And so now defenses just can't have a spy on you, because now you take a guy out of coverage and now somebody's coming open.
Well, you know what I'm going to ask you then, a name that you did not mention, but from Chicago, Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
Talk about what you saw from him in his first year underneath Ben Johnson, and just his ability late in games, but also to get outside the pocket. But we did see him underneath center a lot more this year in Ben Johnson's system.
And I want to see that more. I want to see that more because of the running game that they established with the two running backs that they had. I think they both go over 1,000 yards. And so for that now to be a staple in what they're doing. And I think a lot of people get caught up in the Ben Johnson deal because of the exciting plays that he created in Detroit. But it all started with the run game. Mm-hmm. And so when you have your quarterback under center, and I want to see Caleb do that more, at least 70% of their offense has to be under center for him. And what I seen a guy who can create with his legs, also create the deep ball. He can create big plays in the deep passing game. I want to see him be more consistent in the intermediate and the quick game. That was something I think he kind of struggled with a little bit, of being able to just hit the check down. And so he's going to evolve in his offense. The good thing is this is his next year in this offense. I think year 3, going into year 4 in this offense, Caleb will be the guy that everybody expects him to be. He'll be the guy that completing 70% of his passes. He'll throw for 4,500 yards, maybe about 35 touchdowns, get about 10 touchdowns rushing. Now all of a sudden this offense looks like what we've seen in Detroit, but with a little bit more pizzazz because of his ability to run.
You know about the pressures of being a first-round quarterback in this league, and you have a young guy, and Drake May, pretty quickly, he's established himself. You have Sam Darnold, who had to make his way. What do you like, and what do you see in this quarterback matchup for Super Bowl 60?
Well, I'll start with Drake May. Coming in the second year, I had a chance to meet him while he was in North Carolina. We sat down and talked for about 20, 25 minutes. A guy who asked questions. He wanted to get better. And so what you're seeing is the progression. And I think a lot of his progression at this particular point is due to Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels coming in and creating this offense around his ability and bringing in a guy like Stephon Diggs. What everybody knew about Stephon Diggs and his outstanding route running and things of that nature. But where did he put Stephon? He put Stephon in the slot. Yeah. And when you put him in the slot, remember, his offense was predicated off of Wes Welker, Julian Edelman, Gronkowski, Hernandez, everybody that was in that slot position. And what that does now, all of a sudden, Booty, or I don't know if it's Booty.
Yeah, Booty.
Yeah, with Booty being like Randy, which get downfield, take the top off of coverage. The slot guys begin to work versus the third corner or that linebacker. And so that's when you see Stephon being that security blanket for him. Hunter Henry also being that for him as well. And he's evolving. He's evolving playing within the pocket. Now, it's different for a guy like Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold being a first-round pick, going to the Jets. We all know how many Jets players get out and have success. Now he goes to Carolina. Carolina, he's still learning. The thing that changed Sam Darnold's career and his trajectory is when he went to San Francisco. When he went to San Francisco and learned under Kyle Shanahan's offense about timing, ball placement, and trusting that they're going to get in that window. So now all of a sudden he understands that, and he goes to where? Minnesota, where you have Adam Thielen, you got Justin Jefferson, you got weapons everywhere. And so now all of a sudden Justin Jefferson looking like Jerry Rice out there. And so, but Sam's doing it. But then he gets to the later part of the season in the Detroit game and the playoff game, and that's where everybody remembers him. He does that same thing in Seattle, where all of a sudden Jackson Smith and Jigma was in the slot with DK Metcalf and then also Tyler Lockett. Once they let them go, he became the guy. He's the focal point. Sam brought that same approach and attitude. All of a sudden, their offense looks amazing. And they got 2 running backs that went over 1,000 yards. So it's amazing of the different paths that these two took. But we all come down to this one game of who will not turn the football over and who will take advantage of the opportunities that the defense gives them.
Different paths for them and a different path for you. They're trying to run you out, so you got to go.
We appreciate you.
That's what I do.
We love you, man.
Donovan
I'm
McNabb.
still
We love
scrambling.
you.
He's still scrambling.
Still scrambling.
He's getting out of the
Not at
pocket.
the same speed, though.
All right, let's hit a break. Back with more right after this. We're back on the big game, and Jarrett Payton has turned into Simone.
Hey.
That's some of the talents we have on the show.
You know.
I tell you who's got talent is big Delanie Walker. Man, I love football. I love offensive football. I love tight ends. Tight ends, they are underappreciated.
Yeah.
They're part lineman. They're part receiver. They're part running back. You see them being so versatile. Why is the tight end so underappreciated despite how much they do? He's speechless. I got him speechless. Best question.
It's a great question.
That's a good question. I will have to say, for me, I think it's more of we get hurt more.
Yeah.
I think just because we go over the middle. Again, like you said, we're a smaller left tackle. We're usually blocking the best player on the team. That's the rush in, and the tackles are leaving us out to dry. So I don't know. I really don't know. That's a good question, man. Why are we?
Well, I knew Jack Doyle really well, tight end for the Colts, so you probably came across. And he was just quiet, humble, put his nose down, and you'd watch the game. You would, focus in on him and be like, man, he's getting killed out there. He's busting his tail in the backfield, going down the field. It's 3rd and 2. He's going to get open. And your mind is in 1,000 different places for the game. And so being in that fraternity of tight ends, I know you appreciate when you see good tight end play.
Oh, no, you definitely appreciate it. And like you said, like we sit over the middle most of the time on short routes, and we know we're getting hit, right? Like you catch the ball like, okay, he coming. But, what's going on with the new tight end is just the game is changing. I feel like we will evolve where we will be the big piece in the offense, which in our mindset we are. The quarterback believes that too, but the team doesn't. Once the team buys into why the tight end is the best player on the team, they'll start understanding that. And again, I think it's going to evolve. Kittle just made it more times.
Right.
He made us bigger than what we were, right? He started tight end day, and it just blew up after that. And we're thankful for him because now we're starting to see those paydays that we deserve because we do so much. Like you said, we're on special teams. We're on we block. We're the fullback. We're the tackle. We catch the ball. We do everything the coaches want us to do. Sometimes we the backup third quarterback if they need it, or a lone snapper. So we can do multiple things on the field. They just need to start recognizing that.
And speaking of this fraternity of tight ends, you guys have kind of bonded together here at the Super Bowl for a really great campaign and a really important campaign as well. I want to talk about that a little bit, Delanie. Relax, it's a blood test. Of course, this is to bring awareness to prostate cancer screening. Tell us a little bit about why it was important to you to be a part of that and kind of what your message is in this campaign.
Well, yeah, to be a part of Novartis in that campaign, Relax is just a blood test. It hit home for me. So I had my father-in-law. He passed away from prostate cancer. And, if we had something like this where we could have caught it early, maybe we would have been able to prevent this from happening. So we want people to have these conversations, especially people in my age group, 40 and up, because when we were growing up, we didn't have Relax. It's just a blood test.
It was different.
It was a
rectum
rectum exam.
It was a little different.
It was a little different. So those conversations were hard to have. But now we can have these conversations, right? Because these kids that's growing up now, they're more health conscious, right? But we need to work on the guys that's 40 and up. Get them health conscious, talking about this. And it's easy. It's simple. It's just a blood test. You don't have to worry about nothing. And you can come back and tell someone how easy it was that you got your prostate screening.
What's funny is you talk about the changeover from the old days till now, and I didn't realize it had become just a blood test. So I was at my doctor, and I was like, I'm getting ready. I'm like, okay. And I go, what about – because I was aware of, like, this got to get checked. He goes, you're all good.
He said, keep your pants on, Chris.
He said, I get that a lot. He said, hey, it's in the blood test now. And I was like, for real? You don't know how easy, but there's some people from back in the day that they don't want to go in. Like I know some friends of mine haven't been to the doctor in 8 years.
Yeah.
They're like, well, if I'm sick, I'll just stay home. And I'm like, no, there's things you have to stay on top of. Yeah. And there's things that in this day and age, I joke about that stuff because if you joke about it, it makes people relax about it, You don't go in there like, man, hey, just go in there and get it done. And then the technology that you got to get the word out about, the innovations to let you do the right thing, and it's not as deep as it used to be.
No, it's not as deep as it used to be, and that's why the commercial, when people see it, it's going to have some type of sense of humor to it, but also seriousness behind it, because we just want y'all to feel like at ease, right? Yeah. Be at ease knowing that you can get a prostate cancer screening and you ain't got to get a rectum exam, right? So like that's what it comes down to. Because if you look at it, 1 out of 8 males will be affected by prostate cancer, and 1 out of 6 minority males will be affected by this. And then you got to think about it. It's the second leading cause of death in cancers. So please be health conscious and just go out, talk about it. And if you want to see if this is something for you, you can go to relaxit'sjustabloodtest.com and see if this is something you want to do.
Yeah, Delanie, lovely to have you. I want to get your thoughts on this game, of course. I 3-time Pro Bowler there with the Titans. You know Mike Vrabel. I think there's a little bit of overlap. Your thoughts on just what he's been able to do with the Patriots franchise and bringing them back to Hagan glory right now?
I mean, at the end of the day, I was sad to see him leave, right?
Yeah.
The Titans, because I knew what type of coach he was. He's the type of coach that can motivate men's into being great, going out there, giving all they got, leaving it out on the field. And you've seen that because the Patriots was at the bottom of the pack a few years ago. And now seeing where they at today shows you what type of leader he is and what type of coaching staff he brings in. And the players got to believe in your coach. If you believe in your coach, you're going to go out there and you're going to play 100 times harder. And Mike Vrabel makes you do that, right? Because he gets you prepared. He teaches you everything you need to know. Detail, detail, detail. Detail wins games.
Yep.
And we seeing that. Even though it's been close games these last few weeks, he still came out on top because of detail. And I just think Mike Vrabel is a coach that, we're going to start seeing other coaches build their philosophy around that.
What's funny to me is, like, in high school, how important, back in my high school days, the coach was like, he's going to get you to go. College to another level. But it's interesting to me, like, professional athletes, it's no longer just your extracurricular. It's your job. But the coach can still make a difference, and that's just fascinating to me that you got to have the right one regardless of the roster.
Yeah, I mean, the money going to make you play, but it ain't going to make you go out it ain't going to make you run through a wall, you know what I'm saying? But if you got that coach that's motivating you and giving you, that courage to go out there and holding you accountable, sometimes that gives you an extra just you know what I mean?
Maybe I need me a life coach to give me a little something to get going.
Chat GBT.
Okay.
Delanie, AI nowadays, it takes over.
But before I let you run out of here, I've seen you from a distance in interviews with our girl Titans, Amy. You've always been so personable. I think I already know your answer based on what you already said, but I got to get your pick for Sunday.
A lot of people, they don't understand why I'm doing this.
Okay, here we go now.
Seattle Seahawks.
Whoa, left turn on me here.
Yeah, I took a lot of hate from the 49er faithfuls, from all the Patriot fans. Like, I'm doing this because I'm going off of prior weeks, right? What Seattle has done, playing the 49ers, the Rams. Now, you can say these are probably the hardest teams in the NFL at this time.
Yeah.
And then what the Patriots done, they barely beat teams by 3 points. I don't think you can do that with the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
Like
They're battle tested.
It's going. Yeah, I get it. The Patriots has a great run defense, but I don't know. I just think the Seahawks are the best team right now.
Delanie, I'm with you. I got Seahawks big, 13 points. Delanie, it's always been great to watch from afar. And,
Appreciate it, sir.
Super great to me. And relax. It's just a blood test.
There you go.
See, he sold me on that.
There you go.
Delanie, best of
Love
luck. Enjoy your travels, and hopefully you don't have any interviews better than this one.
No, y'all been great. Thank you.
Appreciate
Awesome.
it.
Delanie
Yeah.
Walker,
Thanks.
let's hit a break. We're back with more after this. Hey, we're back on the big game, JP and me, and we get very blessed and honored with some of these guests, but then you take it even to another level on the field, off the field, on the mic. Anthony Munoz back with us yet again. Every year it's great to see you, and somehow every year you look younger.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
How is that? How do you look younger every single year?
I tell you guys are so kind. I'm going to do your show like every year. Anytime you want me, I'll fly to wherever you are. You guys are so kind. No, it's good to be back with you guys. And you just got to keep moving. I mean, Jerry, you guys know sleeping is not a problem for me. Just give me a bed and boom. I got back to the room at 9:15 last night, and I was out by 9:20, 9:25. I mean, you just got to make an effort, and the good Lord just, I guess, blessed me with some good genes, so I feel great. For an old guy, I tell people I don't feel too bad.
And then when you're chasing around grandkids for things like that, that'll keep you rolling too.
It will. Don't work out with them anymore because I'm far past that. But yeah, you just got a lot of basketball games, a lot of volleyball game, and you gotta stay ready. You gotta go. You gotta be mobile. It's like So, all those things I think are great.
I always think about you and having the conversations about greatness, man, and when you get a chance to sit around with GOATs, like you get a chance to sit around with GOATs. When you watch the game now, do you ever try to kind of put yourself in the game now or how you would be in this day and age?
The only thing I do is people ask me, do you think you could play in today's game? And all I say is I would love the challenge to try to play in today's game. I'm one, when I watch, even with our grandkids, I just watch to enjoy. I'm not a guy that strategizes and, they should run this play, they got to run this defense. You guys are matched. I want to watch that matchup. And that's the way I watch games. But, it's funny because I'm asked that a lot. Do you think you can play in today's game? And then what I do a lot of times, I have fun with it. I say, you ask me if I could play. So here's a question for you. Do you think the guys playing today
could play with me?
With us, with our rules?
No, I don't think so.
With our rules.
But I'll say this. That's what makes great players great players. I believe if you have a gold jacket, you're one of the GOATs, you could play in any era. It doesn't really matter. Your game, any of those guys' games that I've seen, you can pluck them and put them into today's game, and they would still have
They would find a way.
Yes.
This is the time of year tonight. We have the NFL honors as a Hall of Famer. What that means, and also we have some other awards that are really awesome when you start thinking about this time of year. And I know you're involved with the Bart Starr Award. Tell us about that and what that means. What goes into earning that award?
I tell you what, you have the Walter Payton Man of the Year, which I was blessed to win that a few years ago. I knew Jarrett's dad really well, just a great man. Enjoyed being around him. You had to be careful, make sure you saw him coming, because give you that big bear hug and kind of you either buck up to it or your ribs would be kind of out of joint. But in the Bart Starr Award, Bart Starr, great player, great man. The same thing. I won that one back, I think, the second or third year that they started that one. And the great thing about that, in my room, I have the Bart Starr and the Walter Payton Man of the Year. I can't pick up the Payton Man of the Year anymore. It's so heavy. I just got to call my grandson and say, can you move this for me? But it's all about who you are with your family, in the community, your faith. And that's what makes it. It's not what you did on the football field, which it helps. But, to me, the Bart Starr Award is who you are as an individual, the things you do in the community. And that's what's so great about, the AIA Super Bowl breakfast is you get a chance to see, hear videos of guys that are playing the game, the guys that have faith, the guys that are there live in person, be around guys like Tony Dungy. Since we lost Bart, he used to be there with Cherry, and they used to hand out the trophy. But, so it's great for me to be around those guys. I know Steve Largent's always there. I see Mike Singletary, and there's a lot of guys that show up. But, man, I tell you what, that's a heck of an award. And I think you asked most of the guys. I'm not going to speak for them, but I can speak for myself. I'm very honored and thankful to have that award.
Who are some of the folks that have joined you on that list?
Wow, let me think of so a lot of so I can talk Reggie White, Steve Largent.
Wow,
I know. I'm thinking Calais Campbell of younger guys, Kurt Warner. So there's it's amazing. Yeah, it really is. And the great thing about it, you talk about their life off the field, but a lot of those guys have also accomplished a lot on the field.
Oh yeah.
Guys. Matthew Slater. Jackie Slater, Hall of Fame dad, great man of faith. His son, who played for the Patriots for years, he was a recipient. So it's a thrill. It's funny because you all of a sudden you get all these fraternities you're a member of. Just right. Bengal fraternity, a former NFL player fraternity, Hall of Fame fraternity, Payton Man of the Year fraternity, Bart Starr, and it's just. It's such an honor. It's a blessing to be a member of all those fraternities because you look around and you're like. You pinch yourself and you say, man, I would have never thought this would have happened when I was in high school, even when I started playing and going to school at USC.
You mentioned names like Mike Singletary and used to be my next door neighbor, so I was always over by his house, and I know he is a man of faith. How big was your faith throughout your career?
So I got married, actually it's funny, I got married my sophomore year in college. Dee Dee and I got married, and it was got married on a Saturday. Drove to San Diego for the night, came back Sunday because I had class early Monday morning. I was starting a baseball series against UCLA on Monday. Then I was also going through a little bit of spring football. So I was busy.
Wow.
So that was spring of my sophomore year. That fall, which was actually the first semester of my junior year, faith became very big for both Dee Dee and I. We both trusted Jesus in our lives. And so we'll celebrate 48 years of marriage coming up in April. This next October, 48 years. So during the last 2.5 years of college, it was big. And then it became even bigger in my 13 years in the NFL. Now that I've been retired, 100 years maybe? No. So in my playing days, that was the number one thing. And I'm thankful God has allowed me to go through a lot of different things, good and bad. And it's all been, it's helped me grow. It's battle tested me, and it's got me ready for the battle. So I'm thankful. So to answer your question, through my 13 years in the NFL, it was the most important thing.
I saw some video of your rookie year, and it was in black and white, and y'all didn't have face masks yet. They hadn't yet got those.
Was it black and white? I didn't fold my helmet up and put it in my pocket.
What's funny is when I remember, watching you as a kid, and then when you start growing up and you start seeing, I've met you before doing the show, but then you talk about being around people you look up to and respect, and then you get to see you and hear the human side rather than just the playing side. We knew how great you were on the field, and then to meet you and see all the blessings you've enjoyed. Before we let you run here, what do you think about this game? Are you AFC? That's always what you're going to go with, or who do you like in this game? If you're rooting for anybody, who do you like?
What game? No, I'm just kidding. So no, I got kind of a heart mind type of thing. My heart got to go with Sam Darnold, USC guy. What he's been through. His resilience, being a number one pick and going from the Jets to the Panthers here and there, then doing the great job he did in Minnesota, and all of a sudden to see him in the Super Bowl, I'm rooting for him. But I also believe the Seahawks. I'm taking the Seahawks. I believe, both teams are really good, but I'm going to go Seahawks.
Anthony Munoz, he's won every award, deservedly so, Hall of Famer, on the field, off the field, and when he's foolish enough to join us on the show each year, always great to see you.
It's always not foolish, it's a pleasure being with both you guys every year.
Looking good, feeling good. All right, let's hit a break. We're back with more right after this. We're back one final time on the big game from Radio Row, and as you can see, or not see, Jarrett Payton, the son of sweetness, has left me. Simone Eli has left me. I'm all alone to bring the show home, but guess what? I got some backup. Damar Hamlin. Damar, I thought I looked good in my little polo button-up, and then you show up and knock me out of the park. The freshest fit on the whole Radio Row. What are you doing to me?
I had to represent well, man. This is a piece from a future Super Bowl champion. This is Stephon Diggs' line right here.
No way.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Branching out already.
It's called Liam. It's Living Every Moment.
Okay. Yeah. There's a good plug right there. I'll check it out. Living Every Moment, Liam. Now, as you can tell, I just get out of bed and throw on the next shirt in the closet. But you don't do that, do you? You got a little preparation.
Yeah, no way. You know what, though? This even goes on the field. Like, what I wear to practice matters because it gets me through my schedule. Like, it gets me through my day. Makes me feel a little bit better. I've always been that way. I was in middle school. I used to wear collar shirts to school. I would put on 2 collar shirts just so I can have a different color, coming over the top one. So I was always kind of just creatively expressing myself. I have a clothing brand that I've had since 2017, which is, I'm more venturing into the sports world of the clothing, and I really want to attack the youth sports space. So we got a lot of work there as well. So, I got a lot of things going on.
You got some ambition.
Man,
of course,
I got a lot of ambition.
When I was a kid, I hated getting up early, and I would try to sleep as long as I could. So one day I woke up about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I had an idea. I said, I'm going to get my school clothes on, get back in bed. When Mom wakes me up, I'll be ready to go. So she came in here and said, get your butt out of bed. You got to get dressed. And I said, nuh-uh, and I threw the blanket off. I'm in full clothes, not realizing they're going to be wrinkled. And she said, get at it. I was like, man, I had a great plan, and it failed miserably.
I don't blame you, bro. That's probably something I would have did,
I was trying to beat the system. Damar Hamlin, man, your name is known nationwide. We all remember that. It's one of those events where everybody remembers where they were. And you've taken that moment, and you said, I have a name, I have a platform. And you haven't just said, woe is me, feel sorry for me. You've said, hey, I'm going to take this platform to the next level, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. And, I've seen opportunity. And, what my cardiac arrest truly gave me was perspective. And, I seen opportunity to turn a moment into legacy. And, as a young kid, like you said, I was always ambitious, bro. I was always ambitious. I always wanted to affect the world or change the world or leave a purpose behind. And, I truly thought that was through the game of football, and it will be, it will be. I have a lot more things that I want to accomplish. I got dreams of being a world champion myself. I've won at every level. But to be able to just continue on and leave a legacy behind, even beyond what I can do on the field inside the white lines, is something that I always wanted since I was a kid. And I think, I think since I've had the drive, I think God truly hand selected me and was like, this mission is for you, and you just continue to go on and chase it. And, no matter how vulnerable you feel, no matter how much trauma you're dealing with at the time, continue to push the message, because you'll save lives of people that you'll never meet.
That's what I tell my camera guy all the time. Like, something will happen at the moment, it won't make sense. It'll seem like a setback, and then when it reveals itself, I say, God knew. God knew. And God knew when that happened to you that night what this would lead to. Tell me about Chasing M's, the foundation, what that's all about.
So, man, I always was an ambitious kid, but, I always didn't have the resources or the role model in my life to give me that guidance. So I turned myself into it, and that was always my driving force in making it to the NFL, was to be able to give it back to my community so that these kids didn't have to, worry, ask, or not be able to have the same resources that every kid has in the world. And it doesn't have to be just football. It is whatever you want to. It's whatever you want to be. And through my Chasing M's Foundation, partnering alongside Stand Together, we truly care about empowering people that are closer to the problems, and we truly just care about making sure that these kids have equal access and resources that everybody across the world has. So through my Chasing M's Foundation, our big vision is being able to create a youth empowerment center where we're able to give these kids all the resources to accomplish all of their dreams in the world, so that they can become who they need to become to empower and, inspire the rest of the world.
You talk about inspiration, not only from Bills fans, the Bills Mafia, but the entire NFL and people who don't like football. They responded to you, and people were like, hey, what's the foundation? How can I help? And isn't it overwhelming sometimes when you think about how all these fan bases that hate each other, when you see the human aspect of it, you see how people can really be?
Yeah, it really is. To be at the center of so much love and unity and prayer, it's truly a blessing. And it took a lot to sort it all out. It really did. It was a lot of turmoil, a lot of chaos, a lot of pulling in the right directions, pulling in the wrong directions. People wanting to attach themselves to you for the wrong reasons as well. So it was a tough journey to navigate over these last 3 years, as you can imagine, alongside trying to prioritize making sure that, I can continue to compete with the best in the world, at the best sport in the world. It was a very tough journey to navigate, but I would say, this is my 3rd year into my new life. I truly feel like, I have a good grasp on, my mission and what I'm here for. And, I have a good perspective of, there's worldly things, and there's operating in this world, and there's operating in your calling. And, I'm choosing to operate in my calling, and I only want people around me, that are doing the same. And, I'm truly blessed to be able to feel like I have a good grasp on that. I know it's more adversity in the future. I know it's, that wasn't the last moment experiencing trauma. I know that, but I'm well prepared for the journey, and I'm aligned the right way for it.
I know you wish the Bills were still playing. I know you don't want to see a division rival playing for the title. How's the pec? You feeling better? You're on the road to recovery? Look at him.
I'm ready, man.
You got that pec? So do you root fervently? Do you root against the Patriots? Do you go for the Seahawks, or do you just say, I just want to see good football?
Well, you know what, man? First, starting about the pec, I actually had a timeline to where I was able to make it back. So at the end of the regular season, I flew out to get cleared, and I was a ramp-up process. So I actually made it back to practicing. And that next week, I would have been able to, get active and play in the game and help my team win.
Oh, wow.
I have a lot of playoff experience, man. If you recall back to the year before,
yeah,
we played Denver in the playoffs, man. I had a really good game. I feel like if you watch that game back, the last play of the game, they took an interception away from me. They said the ball hit the ground. Ball did not hit the ground. I had control of that ball.
Where's my challenge flag?
But it was like 4th and 18, so it didn't even matter anyways. We wrapped the game up. But and then we versus Baltimore, I had another good game. So, I have a lot of playoff experience that I wanted to be able to put back on display after, experiencing more adversity. But, it's an interesting way that God works.
It is indeed. Damar Hamlin, you're living proof. So glad to have you on the show. So glad to have you as the final guest. You're batting cleanup. You knocked it out of the park. Chasing M's. Give it a look online. For right now, though, it's time to say goodbye. For everybody on board and my only left partner here, Damar Hamlin, I'm Chris Hagan. We'll see you next time on The Big Game.